And at the end of the day, I was CEO of FTX. And that means whatever happened, wherever it happened, I had a duty. I had a duty to all of our stakeholders, to our customers, our creditors. I had a duty to our employees, to our investors, and to the regulators in the world to do right by them, to make sure the right things happened at the company. And clearly, I didn't do a good job of that. Clearly, I made a lot of mistakes or things I would give anything to be able to do over again. I didn't ever try to commit fraud on anyone. I was excited about the prospects of FTX a month ago. I saw it as a thriving, growing business. I was shocked by what happened this month. And, reconstructing it, where there are things I wish I had done differently. When you're talking about November 6th, late November 6th, then, and especially as we bleed into November 7th and 8th, I start to become nervous that FTX is not going to be able to fill customer withdrawals. And, by late November 6th, I am very nervous about that. And I'm starting to think about emergency scenarios. And I'm starting to think about things might end quite badly here.
Hi, welcome back to Joe Blogs. Well, as you've just heard from Sam Bankman-Fried, this time last year he was starting to get nervous that things could end quite badly. And unfortunately for him, they've ended as badly as it gets. After 1 month of trial proceedings, the jury took only 4 hours to decide that he was guilty on 2 counts of fraud and 5 counts of conspiracy. Those 2 counts of fraud carry a maximum jail sentence of 5 years each, which doesn't sound too bad, but the 5 counts of conspiracy carry a maximum jail sentence of 20 years each. So if the judge decides that he wants to give the maximum jail sentence, Sam Bankman-Fried could get a sentence of 110 years. But unfortunately, from his point of view, it doesn't end there, because the US attorneys have now brought more charges against him. He's now facing bribery and bank fraud charges in a court case that's going to start in March next year. Now, if you've been following this story over the last 12 months or so, this won't come as a major surprise, because Sam Bankman-Fried was both the founder of FTX and also Alameda Research, which was the hedge fund that started borrowing FTX customer money. Now, Sam Bankman-Fried's defense was that he wasn't aware of this, that there was a glitch in the software and some sort of accounting errors. But obviously, if you're the owner and founder of both businesses, you're involved in setting up how they work and certainly how the interaction between both of those companies operates. And he also installed his ex-girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, who was a relatively junior trader that he'd met at his previous job as the chief executive of Alameda Research. Now, Caroline Ellison was subsequently arrested alongside Sam Bankman-Fried's co-founders, Gary Wang and Nishad Singh, and all 3 of them immediately pleaded guilty to all of the charges, and they actually testified against him in the court. And one of the prosecutors, Danielle Sassoon, told the jury in her closing statement he didn't bargain for his 3 loyal deputies taking that stand and telling you the truth, that he was the one with the plan, the motive and the greed to raid FTX customer deposits, billions and billions of dollars to give himself money, power, influence. He thought the rules did not apply to him. He thought that he could get away with it. And that was after the jury had heard 15 days of testimony, which included Caroline Ellison, Gary Wang and Nishad Singh, all testifying that Sam Bankman-Fried had directed them to commit crimes, including helping Alameda loot FTX and lying to lenders and investors about the company's finances. And Sam Bankman-Fried's defense against these testimonies was that all 3 of them had falsely implicated him in a bid to win leniency at their own sentencing, and that the prosecutors would be asked to take their cooperation into account when deciding their punishment. Now, when you hear that Sam Bankman-Fried's argument was that these 3 people were blaming him to get themselves off the hook, that doesn't actually explain what happened at FTX. That's not providing any evidence to show that there was no fraud or conspiracy here. That's just saying it wasn't me, it was them. But when you take a step back and think about who set all of this up and who was the main benefactor, who was making the most money and who was most likely to be making the decisions, all roads lead to Sam Bankman-Fried. And that's exactly what Caroline Ellison, Gary Wang and Nishad Singh said from day one. So the writing was really on the wall from Sam Bankman-Fried's point of view, and it will be interesting to see what his final sentence is. That's not actually going to be decided until March next year, but between now and then he will be spending his time in jail. Sam Bankman-Fried is currently 31 years old, and it's likely that he will spend the rest of his life in jail. Or if he is ever released, it's likely that he will be an old man by the time he gets to that situation. So let's hear what US Attorney Damian Williams said about the judgment.
My name is Damian Williams, and I'm the United States Attorney here in the Southern District of New York. Sam Bankman-Fried perpetrated one of the biggest financial frauds in American history, a multi-billion-dollar scheme designed to make him the king of crypto. But here's the thing. The cryptocurrency industry might be new. The players like Sam Bankman-Fried might be new. But this kind of fraud, this kind of corruption is as old as time, and we have no patience for it. This case moved at lightning speed. That was not a coincidence, that was a choice. And it's also a message. It's a warning, this case, to every single fraudster out there who thinks that they're untouchable, or that their crimes are too complex for us to catch, or that they're too powerful for us to prosecute, or that they could try to talk their way out of it when they get caught. Those folks should think again and cut it out. And if they don't, I promise we'll have enough handcuffs for all of them.
So the FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried story is now drawing to a close. But what does this mean for the crypto markets? Because 2022 was a highly damaging year for crypto across the board. We saw a number of high-profile companies going bust, lots of people lost a huge amount of money, and FTX was right in the middle of that storm. And this chart, which shows the market capitalization of all cryptocurrencies in issuance, shows what a rollercoaster ride cryptocurrency has been over the last 3 years. And what this shows is that at the start of 2020, the total market cap for all cryptocurrencies was sitting at around $200 billion. However, by November 2021, it had increased more than 10 times and was close to $3 trillion. And at that stage, Bitcoin was trading for around 65,000 for one coin. And there was a lot of talk about the fact that Bitcoin was going to go through the 100,000 level. However, that never materialized. And with hindsight, November proved to be the peak of the market. And 2022 was an absolute disaster for cryptocurrency. And by the end of 2022, the market cap was down to around 750 billion, which was the lowest that it had traded at for around 2 years. And this chart shows the movement in the price of Bitcoin since the start of 2022. And this shows that the price fluctuated wildly between around 45,000 and 35,000 in the first 4 months of the year. However, the price of Bitcoin nosedived in the second half of 2022, following all of the cryptocurrency corporate collapses. And by the end of the year, it was trading for around $16,500. Now, the price has remained volatile in 2023, but it has recovered substantially and is currently trading for around $34,000, which means that it's doubled in value over the last 10 months. However, despite its recovery in value, the volatility of Bitcoin remains high, and as the price goes up, so does the volatility. So what does all of this mean for the crypto markets? Well, I think the last couple of years have been a really interesting ride. When you look at what happened in 2021, that was the feeding frenzy. That was the gold rush for cryptocurrency. It started to become mainstream. People in the street were talking about investing in Bitcoin because when something's going up 10, 15, 20% in the space of weeks, everybody starts to get excited. It's a bit like the dot-com boom and the gold rush. You don't want to miss out. If all your friends are making money, you want to be on board. But as soon as some bad news comes out, that usually bursts the bubble. And that's really what happened when FTX collapsed. People who were dabbling, people who thought, well, maybe I should get involved in Bitcoin, suddenly stepped back and thought, actually, this isn't something for me, I don't really understand it, and it looks like there's a lot of potential fraud because when something is highly complicated, there is always the opportunity for people to shroud things in mystery and make some profit by doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And that's exactly what happened at FTX. Now, there are actually a number of other court cases that are due to be heard over the next 6 months relating to other failed crypto businesses. But in terms of high-profile crypto collapses, they've definitely slowed down over the last 12 months. So I think the market is stabilizing and it's starting to rebuild. But it still represents a very small part of the financial markets and is certainly no longer mainstream. Now, interestingly, BlackRock and a number of other fund managers have applied to set up Bitcoin ETFs. And if they get approval to do that, that could then bring cryptocurrency back into the mainstream. And you may even find that a small part of your pension fund ends up being invested into some form of crypto ETF. So I think the overall summary of today's video is that FTX has now been proven to be a fraud. The courts have heard all of the evidence and the jury decided that Sam Bankman-Fried was guilty and he's now going to jail. But that obviously isn't the end of the cryptocurrency markets. When Bernie Madoff was arrested for his Ponzi scheme, which was the biggest in US history, and he was given 150 years in jail, it didn't kill fund investing. People still wanted to invest money. And just because one guy has set up a fraudulent company doesn't mean that the whole financial world is on the take. Now, if you're a regular viewer of my channel, you'll know that I like to include something at the end of the video to put a smile on your face. And one of the reasons that I do that is because some of the content that I'm talking about isn't really that uplifting. It can be a little bit depressing. So I like to leave you on a positive note. But in today's video, what I'm going to share with you is the commercial that was made for FTX by Larry David. And Larry David, if you're not familiar with his work, he was one of the writers on Seinfeld, which was one of the biggest shows in US history, comedy show. And he now has his own HBO show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. So he's got a particular style of comedy, and this commercial is absolutely brilliant. It's quite funny in itself, but I think the message that it leaves you with is really quite interesting. So hopefully you'll enjoy that at the end of today's video. If you've liked what I've said today, if you thought it was interesting, useful and thought-provoking, then please give me a thumbs up. Thank you for watching this video all the way through to the end. And here's that Larry David commercial.
I call it the wheel. I don't think so.
What does it do?
It rolls.
Yeah, so does a bagel, okay? A bagel you can eat. One of the worst ideas I've ever heard.
Brother David, behold, the fork.
I got 10 forks right here, baby! Am I right?
My lord? What is it?
A toilet, my lord. A toilet? You expect this court to do its business inside? We're not animals. We go outside like humans.
It's coffee. It's new.
Oh, it's awful.
You don't like it?
I'm all jittery and feel like I got a big job coming on.
Hancock, you sign first.
No king! Gentlemen, have you taken leave of your senses?
The people shall have the right to vote.
Even the stupid ones?
Yes.
Stupid people vote?
Yes.
Edison, can I be honest with you? It stinks. Does your wife know what's going on here?
She knows I go to work.
You're wasting your time, and it's sad. You might as well put the dishes in the shower.
Hey, Catherine, what's cooking? We're putting a man on the moon. Are you out of your mind? I can't even get tuna without celery. Nobody's gone to the moon, ever.
Why not?
It's too far. It's far. It's really far. It's far.
我々の未来はポータブルミュージックです。
バカか。バカか。わかるだろう。わかるだろう。わかるだろう。
出ていけ。
見ないのか。怖いんだ。あ、バタリがいつも言えるぞ。バタリどこ。バタリ。
Like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff. Never.